Hi everyone, welcome to the Women in Control virtual live panel. My name is Nadia Khan and I am the founder of Women in Control. Women in Control is a platform that I started to empower women in the music, creative and business industry. I really wanted to create a safe space for us to uplift women that already work in the industry and shine a spotlight on the work that they do and encourage them to shout about their achievements, and also to inspire anybody to looking to work in the creative industry or music industry to understand what different job roles are there out there that you can go for. This is the second virtual panel that we've done. My first one was last Friday at 1 p.m. and I'm hoping to do those regularly every week to kind of keep myself busy as we're all on lockdown. So if you joined last week, welcome back. And if you're new, thank you so much for being here. Today's panel, I've got some amazing female creatives who are at the top of their industry, a director, a producer, and a stylist. And my first panelist is Cussen. I'm a massive super fan of you, Carly, by the way. I've known you for so many years, and it's just been so inspiring to watch your journey from when you started out working on small budget videos to grow your career, to work with international stars and huge budget videos and commercials and everything that you've done. And I've had the pleasure to work with you on many videos with Bizzle, from Power 2011 to his most recent video, Whoa, and you've done some incredible work over the years. So I'm super excited that you could be here to join us today. And my second panelist is Amalia Rosen-Rawlings, who is an incredible video producer and has worked on some incredible videos, including the award-winning Vossi Bot from Stormzy, and with artists like Nicki Minaj and Little Mix, Take That, Rudimental. Her CV is absolutely incredible, and I don't think that there's really a lot of light shone on producers in the industry. I feel like it's kind of a background role, and so I feel like I'd be really interested to find out more about what it is your job role is and how you got into it. So can't wait to get stuck into that with you. And my third panelist is Neesha Badass, who is a creative director and stylist, and I've had the pleasure to work with her as well over the years on a number of my artists, and I feel like she's just got such a great eye for style and a great eye for the camera as well. So she's somebody that I can have on board as part of my team, and I just can feel super confident that she's going to deliver what I need to, and it just takes a lot of stress off of my back at shoots, and she just makes sure that my artists look great and that they're happy, and like I said, she's got a really great eye, so she does really great photography as well on set, and a bit of directing too. So yeah, lovely to have you all here. Thank you so much for being a part of this panel, and I'd love to hand over to you all individually to kind of introduce yourselves and get us kicking off. So Carly, do you want to go first?
Sure, yeah. So I'm Carly Cussen, and like Nadia said, I'm a music video director. I actually started working with Nadia when I was a runner making tea on my, I think it was my third music video ever for Lethal Bizzle. So I started off making tea and I worked my way up, and now I've got quite a few hundred projects under my belt, and I've also been able to work with so many amazing female creatives, especially these ones on the panel. Neesha's styled lots of my videos from hip hop through to commercials in fashion, and Amalia is of course one of my best friends and also a fantastic producer that I've worked with over the years. So yeah, that's me. Back to you.
So I think it's me next.
Yeah.
So I'm Amalia Rosen-Rawlings. I started off working in the grime scene for people like P Money, Sincere, Wiley. I remember doing videos for a couple £100 and getting a video sorted. Worked my way up, and then met a lovely commissioner from Sony who put me in contact with a production company, and I worked there for a year as head of music videos. And I've worked with Carly over the years. We started off together pretty much back in the day, and also Neesha, and I've had the pleasure to work on Lethal Bizzle's videos as well. So yeah.
I'm Neesha. I am a fashion stylist that do a bit of creative direction. I've just started a little bit of directing as well. Obviously I work with Carly, I've worked with Amalia, I've worked with Nadia. They've all been great projects. And but yeah, I think I've sort of witnessed we've all kind of come up together in a weird way. So I remember when Amalia was on shoots from way, like, oh my God, I don't even know, so long back. And Carly from like Channel U days, like way back. So I feel like we've all kind of seen each other grow, flourish, and, you know, we've got quite similar shared experiences in our journeys.
Yeah, definitely.
Definitely. So before we kind of get started into like the main part of the panel, I just wanted to ask you guys, because I feel like we're all kind of freelancers and self-employed. So how are you all being affected by the current situation, coronavirus? How are you dealing with it? How is it impacting work or self-isolation? Like anything that you wanted to kind of share with us. So Amalia, do you want to go first on it?
It's pretty tricky because there's no work at all, so everyone's furloughed, so everyone's kind of been laid off until the industry picks up again, especially for people like myself who are freelance and work as a limited company. We're the only group of people that have kind of been left out of the system, so there's absolutely no help for us just yet. So your only choice is to go on universal credit, which is an absolute nightmare, but you've got to do what you've got to do. So yeah, that and a mortgage, holiday, whatever it is. So yeah, it's tricky times, but things like this keep your spirits high. So yeah.
Yeah, it's the same really. Obviously, we can't shoot videos, so we can't be on set, and so we're all at home. I have got zero work on, and all the jobs that I did have on are obviously on pause until, you know, we know what's going on further down the line. And it is tough, and because like Amalia said, I'm also in that same position where I'm, you know, I'm freelance and I have my limited company, but it's, you know, it really is tough, and coming into this industry as a freelancer, most people in the film industry are freelance. It's hit the entire industry, and it will, when you take that gamble to be freelance, you are taking that gamble. So yeah.
I can just share basically the same sort of sentiments. I'm freelance, so I had some really amazing shoots lined up. I was meant to do a 3-day shoot in Dubai, so that's a real bummer. It didn't happen. Had a few other projects I was really excited about. Obviously, everything's cancelled, and I don't even know if they'll reschedule them, because by the time this is all over, they might be like, "Sod that track. We're not, you know, who knows where we're going to be." So yeah, I mean, for me personally, yeah, I'm not earning any money at all. Yeah, I mean, I have it, and the other thing is I have a lot of outstanding invoices, and I tried to chase them up yesterday, and I just got like, I've got nothing, like no email back, nothing back. So if they pay their invoices, I'll be all right. If they don't, I don't know if I'll be able to do this another time, because my phone will get cut off. I don't, you know, you just don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
But aside from that, I'm trying to be upbeat. I'm trying to be positive. I am you know, I'm always moaning. I never get time to work out. I'm always working. So I have been going ham. I literally walk or work out every day for an hour or two, and then, you know, just try and keep my mind and my brain busy, and, you know, researching stuff, looking at stuff, whether it's just educating myself or whether it's just looking at other creative stuff for inspiration. So, you know, just try my best to be upbeat and positive despite everything.
No, definitely. I feel like it's such a scary and unknown time for a lot of us. And like you guys touched on, a lot of us are set up in this way, where freelance or self-employed, and we have our own companies set up. And the government has announced loads of initiatives to help employed and self-employed. But unfortunately, those that are self-employed and set up in the same way as us with a company kind of have slipped through the gaps, and we're not eligible for any support at the minute. And I know, you know, some of us might be in a more fortunate position than others, but I know this is going to be affecting, I think the figure was like 1 million people out of the self-employed numbers across the UK that are affected in this way with the setup of the company. So hopefully the government will announce some sort of initiative, because at the minute it is unknown. You know, we don't know how long this is going to be going on for. And yeah, I think we're definitely, you know, we're all creative, so we can all, you know, enjoy the time that we've got on our hands and try to do new things and use that time effectively, but it is still an unknown of like how long this is going to be going on for. So, you know, thank you so much for sharing your input on that. So yeah, no, I wanted to get like stuck into like the panel now and just talk about like your own job roles, because obviously you all like do different jobs. So maybe if we could just take it back to that, like exactly, you know, what is your job role and what does that entail? And like Neesha, do you want to start with that?
Okay, so I'm predominantly a fashion stylist. The job basically, you know, you might have to pitch for work, you might do a mood board or whatever. You get a job, it might be a video, so I might do, Amalia might call me for a video that Carly's directing. She'll be like, here's a treatment, and then from that treatment, I might have a conversation with Carly about the style direction. She might put something together just so, you know, we'll have a conversation. It might involve you as a manager or a record label as well. And then my job is then to deliver as much as possible. And that involves contacting PR companies, clothing brands, blagging, begging, borrowing, whatever I have to do to deliver. Sometimes there is a budget available to buy stuff. So, you know, it all depends on the video, the artist, the budget, you know. So essentially then we put the looks together, do the video shoot, and then you've got to return it all afterwards, which is the most painful part of the job, is the returns. So yeah, in a nutshell, that is kind of what I do. And that might be a video, it might be a photo shoot, it might be an advert, but the basic, what it involves is the same.
Amazing. So, yeah. That's really well explained. Thank you. And Carly, do you want to go next?
Yeah, so my job is to, well, essentially the artist or the label will send me the track, and they might have a brief with that. So they might say, oh, we want it to, you know, to have a summer vibe, so we want to go on location. Or they might say, oh, we want to go into a studio. So they might give you a rough idea, and then you go away, listen to the track, and create the treatment. With, you know, like a mood board explaining all the different setups, the scenes, how it works together, what you want to achieve. You pitch that. If you win, yay! If you don't, move on. And then your job is then to pull all the sort of heads of department, the DOP, the producer, the stylist, all those people together and make the vision happen. In a nutshell.
So for production, so what I would do is I would get Carly's treatment, I'd have a look at it, and then I'd budget it up. So I would basically cost out absolutely everything and work with the label to see if it works within their budget frame. And then basically I make Carly's vision a reality. So I will employ and like work with Carly, for example, on who she wants to work with, stylist wise, DOP wise, art director. I'd contact them, get them all in, you know, on the job. And then we would end up creating it. So we'd go for recce's, we would look at locations, we would do everything from catering to castings to everything, absolutely everything. So we kind of push the project along in that way and basically help create the vision, basically, and make sure it's on budget.
Favourite word.
Yeah.
Definitely. Wicked, before we go on to the next question, I just wanted to let everybody know that's watching, if you have questions that you want to submit, there is a Q&A button. If you submit those, then we'll make sure that we answer them at the end of the session. I know a few of you have already emailed in questions before, so I'll make sure that we do those at the end of the session. But now I wanted to get on to like how you started in the industry. Like I know we've all known each other for probably over 10 years, like
definitely.
Through different jobs and work and stuff, and so it's been like, you know, a long breadth of careers that we've all had. So how did you guys actually get started? And Carly, do you want to get started on it? I think, were you 16 when you started and when you just left school?
Yeah, I literally left school. I just turned 16, and I just took, what I did is I actually took myself off to Pinewood Studios and pushed myself on set making tea, which you probably can't do now, so I'm not going to promote that as something to do, but I essentially became a runner and made lots of tea for Nadia one day as a runner on set for Lethal Bizzle. yeah, and then and I guess there are so many routes and directions you can take. Some people become a director from literally being a runner and working their way up. Some go into production houses. You know, some might even start off in sort of editorial beauty and come over like Neesha obviously went from a stylist and does directing too. So so my start was a runner, but there are so many ways you can kickstart into directing. But yeah, maybe Neesha, you do some.
Just a little bit, yeah.
Talk about your transition, because it's really interesting.
Well, I worked in music for like 10 years, and then whilst I worked in music, I had the opportunity to style a girl group by default. But I actually studied, it's really weird, I studied fashion, ended up working in music. While I was working in music, I used to also sort of be out a lot, and then being out, and then I used to always kind of, people always commented on how I dress, and they're always like, oh, you look like, you know, you dress like you're an artist, or, you know, blah, blah. And everyone's like, oh, you should be a stylist, but I didn't really know how it worked. And then I had an opportunity to assist here and there, and then I styled a girl group that was signed to a management company I used to work for. But again, I didn't really pursue it, because I didn't really know how it worked. I didn't, like, I don't know, I mean, maybe I don't know, I should have asked someone, but I didn't. Anyway, so yeah, and then so from that, then someone said to me their friend's a stylist and she's looking for an assistant. So I thought, all right, I'll do it. So then I started assisting, and I assisted for a year and a bit, maybe 2 years. But while I was assisting at the time, was it before the internet? Oh my God, yeah, maybe. And then before, Sarah was like, get your portfolio together, so, you know, you had to print out your pictures. It's really quite expensive to get a big, expensive portfolio. You had to print these big pictures, you used to walk around with this big book. So, you know, I'd put shoots together and work on my own stuff at the same time while I was assisting. And then, you know, I stopped assisting, went off on my own. It was horrible, to be honest. The first 4 or 5 years was like working next to nothing. You know, I worked as well. And I was going to give up loads of times, and then I'd always get like a half decent job to pull me back in. And then, I don't know, then something changed, and it's been pretty consistent. I wouldn't say easy, but consistent for the last 6-7 years. And then from being on set, I think, you know, I'm not someone that, I mean, I like to learn. My mind's always inquisitive, so I might watch someone like Carly or other directors around and see what they're doing. I'm interested to know about, you know, I'm interested about all the facets of the video. And so from that, it's just been sort of, it's not like I'm fully directing, but, you know, I've given it a go here and there when the opportunity arises. It's something I wouldn't mind doing more of, but obviously fashion styling is first and foremost. So when the opportunity arises, it is something I'm enjoying. So yeah, and it's just a natural, from being on set and being inspired by other people and, you know, just learning and absorbing everything that's happening. And I was like, okay, why not? Let's give it a go. And here we are.
That's incredible. No, I love that. I love that's so, I think it's so true what you're talking about, and I think that's something that all of us have been through in terms of like and I want to touch on that later, is like the grind and like how much work we've had to put in and working for free or doing jobs for free and doing so many favors to kind of make a break in the industry. And Carly, I want to go back to you in terms of like videos. Obviously you started as a runner, but how long were you doing that before you actually started making your own videos, or were you doing that from the beginning at the same time?
I was really lucky. My nan bought me a camera when I was really young because I wanted to be in the film industry. So I got what I think is considered a lucky break. I was running for completely free, and this guy came to me and was like, hey, I want to make a music video, I've got 500 quid, let's do it. And my nan had bought me this camera, and I pulled in every favor under the sun, and we made this ridiculously stupid video. And then he like went on to become extremely famous. So then that helped me sort of kick start my levitation into the world of visuals through Channel U. So yeah.
So what was your first ever video then?
Tiny Tempah.
That's amazing. Which video was it?
Wifey.
I thought it was. I didn't want to say. That's incredible. So when did that come about? Was that at the same time that you were doing the running? You were being a runner at the same time?
So I was a runner for like more sort of professional companies.
Right.
And then I was on MSN. Do you remember that? It was MSN.
Yeah, I was MSN, yeah.
And my friend went, oh, I've got this guy that's got this really cool track that wants a music video. Would you be up for making it? And I was like, oh, okay, yeah, just, you know, send me his MSN. And we were chatting on it. And then he came over for pizza. And this is how young we were. My mum cooked us pizza. We were like 15 and 16. We were like, yeah, so we're going to make this music video. And it was really that ridiculous. And now look at the way it turned out. Mental.
Yeah, but you say it's a lucky break, but I think it's just that in terms of just like that artist being successful and going on to have an amazing career, but you yourself had to put in years and years and years of graft in terms of like, doing videos for like little to no budget, I'm sure, to make that transition up. Like, how many videos do you think you've shot over the years?
Well, see, when I say lucky break, what I meant is, I guess I was nobody at all in the industry, just this runner. And because Tinie became so famous, that sort of kind of got my name out there as a director rather than a runner. But obviously for the 8 years following that, I was still just hustling, shooting, you know, really low budget videos for independent artists. It wasn't until, I mean, God, I must have been definitely over 18, maybe even over 20 before I got my first like label job. So we're talking about years and years of me running around the streets, being shot at, or, you know, all sorts of carnage going on, because the grime scene is fun. But yeah, I mean, it was years before I got an actual budget type thing.
No, I remember we worked on the Power 2011 video together, and that was 10 artists, and it was on no budget, and it was just insane project. But it was just, as you said, your nan was definitely a big part of it. We had like lots of the guys coming in to do their shot and worried about who was going to be there, and it was just me, Carly, and Carly's nan like making cups of tea for everyone, and a goat, because there was a goat in the video shoot as well. But yeah, it was just crazy times that we were just like making visuals on like no budget, and just like turning you. That's one thing though, your level of the production quality that you delivered on those budgets was like insane, which is why we kept coming back to work with you, because it was just really high level.
Well, funny enough, POW 2011 was probably the one video that got me into the labels, because that was the first one where labels turned around and said, who is this person then? And Lisa Fu actually was like Amalia. She introduced me to the commissioning world.
Amazing. That's so cool. And Amalia, like, I don't really know much about like your journey in terms of how you got started into it. Like, I met you a little bit later on in your career, so I'd really love to know, like, how did you get into the industry? Did you always know that you wanted to do this job, or how did you find out about it, and what was your break?
So I, like Carly, I did a bit of running when I was maybe like 17, 18. Fortunately, my brother is in the TV industry, so he got me some work experience working on like Katie Price and Peter Ronde's reality show, and I was making cups of tea, and I was like, I bloody hate this. This is absolute shit. Like, everyone's bitchy. I'm just not on it at all. So I kind of knew I wanted to get into media, but I definitely knew I didn't want to go into TV. I went to uni, I graduated in recession, there was no money, there was no jobs, no one kind of knew what they were doing, and I actually tweeted an artist who turned out to be Ed Sheeran, and he was looking for somebody to make his music video. So I tweeted him and I was like, oh, you know, I can make it. And I met him in West End, and he had his suitcase and his, you know, guitar with him, because he was obviously sofa surfing and everyone's like, you know, studios and what have you. And we made this music video for like £400 with him and P Money. And that kind of gave me a taste for producing. And I hadn't really thought about it before, didn't really know what it was, didn't really know what I was doing. I just knew that I had to basically make this vision happen. So I pulled in all the favours. I had all my friends there, borrowed cameras from people, and kind of like hustled, basically. You have to have the initiative to do it by yourself. So I didn't have what I would have now, like a production manager, or all the support from, like, you know, heads of departments. I had nothing. It was literally just me running around the streets trying to sort this all out. So that happened. Then I started to kind of get involved in a scene. There was like obviously quite a strong underground scene with loads of events like I Love Live and all them sort of places where, you know, artists would go and perform, and you'd actually get to meet the artists. So, you know, I kind of networked, started, you know, shooting music videos for like some of the funky house scene. And then I basically got yeah, pretty much met Carly, did a Mashtown and Wiley.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah. So we met then. So there was a Channel U lot and stuff for kind of being involved in that scene. And then I actually kind of, I would say almost headhunted by Lisa Fu, actually. She's a big influence. So she's a commissioner at Sony, or she was. And she's one of our really good friends now. And she kind of brought me into the label and kind of showed me what they were about. I didn't really know what commissioning was. So I was just like, what is this? And like from coming from the underground scene, commercial, like doing like those sort of videos was not even on my, like, I wasn't even there. Like I was just trying to make things happen in kind of our scene. So to get a label and kind of then be interested in what you're doing, because the grime scene wasn't what it is now. So there was no grime scene to the label kind of point of view. They didn't really know about it. So we were kind of making a stir, like Carly's shooting out videos every minute, like everyone that Channel U's picking up and everyone's super involved. And the scene kind of had a buzz around it. So I think that's what made them kind of listen up to like who was actually making the videos and who was going to be kind of ones to look out from the label side, because obviously they commission videos and they were obviously thinking about, you know, making this grime scene a little bit more commercial or like, you know, a little bit more label related. So yes, and then she hit me up and brought me into label, and then she introduced me to a guy called Luty. So Luty Media. So I basically hit him up, and within like 3 minutes he was like, can you come to the office now? I was like, okay, cool. And he's like, oh, you know, like the next day he was like, I've got 10 grand, like I need to make this music video. And I was like, 10 grand? Like I hadn't done anything for more than like 500 quid. Like, I was like, of course I can make this happen. You want kids, you want cranes, you want this, you want that, you want to shoot in Canberra Sands, blah 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 blah. And yeah, so it was the first video for Lamar, which we shot down in Canberra Sands, and I basically worked there for a year, basically running the music video department. And that's obviously Carly was signed to him at the time, so we did untold videos.
Can I just tell a really quick cool story, because it's quite inspiring, I think, in the bigger picture. Me and Amalia were working together, literally shooting like low budget videos, like 400 or 500 quid. We were getting shot at. It was bad. Like she was with me when our whole video was shot. This is the real hustle. And then a couple of months later, I wrote this treatment, and I was and I really was a wild card for Little Mix. And I thought, well, I'll never get it, you know, whatever. It was just good experience to write for, you know, a big label and a big group. And then we got the call. Like, oh, you got the job. So me and Amalia went into Sony like, oh, right, okay, so we've got to, you know, get our shit together. And the commissioner actually said, like, girls, like Carly, your showreel doesn't, you know, justify you doing this video. And he then turned around and went to us, so don't fuck it up. And we were like, oh, but we put our hearts and souls into this video. I threw my fee in, like we really went to town. And then after the shoot, the commissioner turned around and went, okay, great. What are you girls doing at the weekend? Could you just fly to New York and shoot Missy Elliot? And we were like, yeah, of course. And we sat on the plane, right? And I remember I drove to the airport in my Suzuki Swift with the bumper hanging off the back of the car. And we got onto the plane and I was like, shit, is this real? And we flew to New York and we sat in this restaurant in New York, just going over the whole thing in our head. Like, and it honestly, wasn't it? It was so surreal. And then I went back to my Suzuki Swift with the bumper hanging off and went back to doing grime music videos. so quickly, and honestly, it's really, really, yeah, career changing, really.
Yeah, that was one for the books. Like shooting Missy Elliott in New York, we're like 24, 25. Like by this time we think we've done a bit of the grime scene, we know what's what, but meeting somebody like that and us being who we are and what we were doing,
we thought we were getting punked.
Yeah, we honestly thought it wasn't her. We were so convinced. We sat in Applebee's afterwards being like, we didn't just shoot Missy Elliott, it didn't just happen. Like,
I remember in Applebee's like, no, we didn't. so yeah, crazy.
Yeah. So yeah, we had many moments like that, to be fair. We've shot like, I remember we got our first one with Dot Rotten. That was our first shoot abroad in Iceland.
Yeah.
And literally, I was like, I'm gonna bogle on the table if we get this job. And I swear to God, I was dancing on the table. Like literally, it was mad. So we did loads of shoots like that. We traveled the world together. We did loads of stuff, and then I left there and went freelance. And we did the Saturdays. Literally, as soon as I turned freelance, I went to freelance.
Oh yeah, because I had already left.
Yeah, so Carly had already left the company. I left the company. We both went freelance, banging out music videos, and then basically, just kind of got. When I was at the company, I used to speak to a lot of the commissioners because I would basically get the tracks in and send them out to the directors. So I was basically head of music videos, head of production. So I would be in talks with all the commissioners. So like everyone from, Universal, Polydor, Island, everyone I would speak to. So I already had that rapport with them. So when obviously I went freelance, it kind of helped in that way because they already knew that what I was about and what I was doing. So it was just about getting into production companies. I didn't come up the legit way. I came up in a DIY kind of way. I basically did it myself. I didn't come up under anyone. I didn't get trained up under any other producer, which in some ways it works, but a lot of other ways it doesn't. So I've met a lot of people in my career who, to be quite blunt, they think they know what they're doing, but they don't. Like this has taken years and years and years and years of me getting to this position. And I worked for free for pretty much 5 years. So I put my graft in because I didn't come up the conventional way. However, I think having that mentality of doing it yourself and getting it done, it's rare. But when you find someone like that, you know that they're going to progress and you've got that initiative. Because I think that's what a lot of what I've found is that people just lack a lot of initiative, which I know it sounds stupid, but it's not difficult. Producing isn't actually massively mind-boggling. It's just creative ways of solutions, like problem solving and making stuff happen, really. But yeah,
I couldn't do it.
I mean, it's stressful. But
stressful.
Yeah, I mean, I like the stress. It's you know what it is? It gives a buzz. It's like being bipolar or something. It's like maybe not, but like like in terms of like your 1 minute you are so stressed out, I can't explain it. Like you feel sick, you haven't got the location just falling through the day before the shoot, panic pulled out, you are having heart palpitations, you are thinking that the label gonna kill you, you're in trouble, like the shit is hitting the fan. Then at last minute something happens to change the whole thing and it just goes all right. And I swear to God, the adrenaline rush you get from it is actually like, it's addictive. It's like being up and down constantly. So I think that's one of the reasons why I probably like it, because it's just that full-blown rush of adrenaline all the time, especially music videos. Not so much commercials. Commercials are it's a lot different in terms of the process, so it's not so crazy. But music videos, you definitely do get a rush. But yes, anyway, so
on set is
oh yeah on set. But I mean, like on set is like a correct. But the thing is, though, I think as growing into the production office, I've been doing it for a long time now. Like the more you understand the prep process and get that sorted, your shoot day should actually just be cool. You should be calm. Your job's already done, really. You hand over to the first AD and they would run the show. So realistically, all those years and years of like running around on set, problem solving on set and doing whatever, because you didn't really know what you were doing. You're just kind of getting it all done, or you had like 3 days to get it done. So you kind of, had to work out on the shoot day as well. But, once you've got everything sorted, you should be good to go. But yeah, anyway, so then I kind of like went into music videos, kind of done, music videos for some quite big artists with some cool directors. I found it quite difficult to get into like legit production companies, I guess, because I didn't come up the traditional way. But as my music videos were continuing, I had them call me. So they started to hit me up and be like, hey, like, do you want to come in for a meeting, or do you want to come do what have you? And these are like traditional like production companies where I sat down with one of the execs and they were like, so who did you train under? Like, where did you come from? And I was like, well, to be fair, and I was thinking in my head, should I just lie about it and pretend that I know what I'm talking about? Should I just be honest? And I said, you know what? You've asked me here, so let me just tell you what I'm about. And I was like, to be honest with you, I've actually just come from the grime scene. Like, I just kind of taught myself and kind of worked my way through it, really. But I'm here now. You've seen some of the videos I've done for like major labels. So they're like, they were so astonished that I was just so blunt about it, but that they hired me for years. And I was basically their go-to music video producer. So I used to do like loads of stuff with them for like years and years, and all sorts of, you know, big artists. So yeah. And
can I just say, and since then, just to blow some trumpet, Amalia has gone on to work with the biggest agencies for commercials in the country, and obviously she's worked with all of the biggest artists in the country as well. So well done.
My hype, man.
It's so inspiring. Like, it's honestly, it's incredible to like where you all started out, and like how you've followed your dreams and followed your paths and your careers, and like it is all very DIY. I can definitely relate to that. Like, I come from, obviously started out in the grime scene too, and managing artists and just following my passion. And like when we started out, it was just like really about the hustle, and there wasn't really a space for us in the industry, and we just kept going, and like it's amazing to see where we are now. I want to go back to you, Neesha. Like, what are the qualities that you need to like be a good stylist?
Good taste. I don't know, it's in terms of skill set, I would say, I think all of us sort of have said at some point, you know, you've got to be able to think quickly on your feet. You've got to have initiative. You've obviously got to be creative. You've got to be able to work to a budget if it's necessary. You've got to be able to I mean, you know, every project's different. You know, I might get booked for a video. Someone might find me today and go, we got to shoot tomorrow. Can you do it? And you're like, okay, potentially. Then they'll be like, yeah, we need 7 outfits. And you're like, hold on. You know, so having the ability to think quickly, move fast, know there's people you can call on, having good relationships. And then someone else might call you and you've got like 3 weeks to put it together, and you've got a big budget as well, which is like a dream. So, you know, every project is different, but ultimately, you know, you've got to be organized, you've got to be creative, you've got to be able to follow a brief, be able to communicate, you've got to be able to obviously make the client feel happy, relaxed, comfortable. I mean, then I think the way everyone executes what they're doing is different. I don't know, I can only speak about myself. I'm sure everyone works a bit differently, but ultimately, I think some of the key things you need for sort of, you know, be adaptable, be fluid.
Oh, I love that. That's really, really great advice. But Carly, I wanted to ask you, have you ever faced rejection? Have you ever been told no? Because I feel like that's like a myth that maybe surrounds like us or people that have become successful, that, you know, we've never dealt with that kind of rejection, never wanted to give up. So I wanted to put that question to you. Like, how do you deal with when you get a no? And have you been told no many times over your career?
I got told no like 2 weeks ago. I write consistently. There are so many creative people out there, and everyone is, you know, fighting to make the visual. We all want to you know, to work and make visuals. And I promise you, if there are directors out there that are so famous that they just get yeses. But please believe that is a very, very select few. There are hundreds and hundreds of directors that might only work 4 or 5 times a year. And these are like, you know, talented directors. It's you know, it's a lot more, unfortunately, than just talent. There are a lot of talented people out there, but without you know, like the right team around you, the right agent, you struggle to get that little bit further. Did I actually answer the question then?
Yeah, definitely.
In your own way, yeah.
Definitely. But no, I think that's something, like, it's an important thing to talk about. It's like, how, like, do you carry on? How did it make you feel when you got that rejection? And like,
oh God, yeah. If you can't take a no, you've got to you got a problem. My very first few treatments back when I was a teenager, like I sobbed my heart out for sure. But now, like I usually just get excited when I get a yes. I'm like, oh, I got a yes on that one. Yeah, I feel like the media make it something that it's not. Like, it's still a hustle every day. I'm like, you know, I'm now a mum of a new baby, and I'm still hustling. And, you know, a couple of months ago, I went to Paris to shoot a huge Little Mix commercial, and then, you know, didn't work for like 3 or 4 weeks because, you know, well, I had the baby and other things. But it's, you know, there's not always a yes, that's for sure. Not even if you get to the top of your game, it's not always a yes. No way.
And I think that over our careers as well, like our goals change. So we're always making new goals, and we want to like attain something else. So we're always reaching out to try something new, and that's when we're going to get that rejection. And that's why it's something that's consistent throughout my career. Like, I'm always trying to like take myself to the next step, and then by doing that, you're always reaching out to people and trying to get new things, and you're being told, no, you're not quite right for this, or no, we're not going to give you this project. But it's just about believing in yourself and believing in what you do and what you want to do, and just like not taking that no as a means to be like, do you know what, I'm going to stop doing what I'm doing. I'm actually going to find an alternative for it. And that's something that I've really found with my journey. Like, I felt like when I started out, there was just no doors like there for the industry. The industry was very small for grime. There wasn't really a lot of like love from like the mainstream, from radio, from labels, and it was just us trying to carve out our own route. We were told no constantly. We were told, no, you can't perform at these venues. Like, no, we're not going to give you a deal. Like, no, you're too small, you're too niche. And it's just like not taking that no and following your dreams and just making your own path there. And that's, you know, like what you were saying, Amalia, about like creating that DIY route and that hustle. And I think that's so rewarding in so many ways. I wanted to bring in actually Lollycoms, who came to a previous Women in Control a panel that Carly was speaking at, and was really inspired and wanting to become like a creative. And hi, Lolly. Yeah, came to a previous Women in Control panel that Carly was speaking at, and at the panel I remember you asked a question and said you hadn't made any videos yet. I remember this, and you were like, you wanted to make videos, and now you are, and this is like in the span of a year. So I just wanted to hand over to you and like tell us a bit about your experience and coming to the panel and what you got from it.
Yeah, sure. Hi everyone. That was such an insightful conversation. I definitely like related to everything you guys said. So yeah, when I came to the event, end of 2018, I presume. And literally what drew me was that Carly was there, and I was like dying to meet her because like I'm such a fan. So I came to the event and I didn't know what to expect, and I just remember walking into the room. I didn't even know, the maddest thing is I bumped into Carly before, but I didn't actually know it was her, because, you know, like work,
I remember.
Directors, you don't know what they look like, you just know that they work. So I remember walking into the room full of women, and it was a great atmosphere, great energy, and then obviously like Carly was there, and Shannon Brown was on the panel as well. And I was just listening, I was like, oh my God, like, I know I want to do what they do, but it's that making that step from going to an event and actually actively like taking on the tips and advice that has been given and just like working on that. So yeah, and I just got so much motivation from doing that, and I was like, they made it like, from seeing and hearing their experience, they showed me that it's possible, you know. And I definitely related to what Amalia said in terms of the DIY route, because that's where I came from. Like, I'm 28 and I changed my career at 26, and I literally just started from scratch. But I knew that directing was something that I wanted to go into, what I was passionate about. So I just got myself out there, went to as many events as I could, and obviously coming to your event as well, like, just gave me that extra push. I started shadowing directors, being on set, doing behind the scenes, like just anywhere I could get on set. And then I got to a point where I was like, okay, I want to do this now. It's just go to the deep end.
Yeah. Amazing.
Yeah.
And you did, and now, and now I'm a fan. There we go. Tables turned.
Yeah.
No, it's amazing to actually, I feel like that's the biggest step. I feel like, you know, it's all good and well, like watching panels and like hearing advice from people, but the hardest thing is to take action onto those goals and then to actually start doing it yourself. And now, like, how many videos have you done since that point?
I've probably done like, in the whole of 2019, like that was my year of just doing directing. And I did about 12.
Oh, well done.
And I got like, it's crazy because a lot of people would feel like I fast tracked, but honestly, I always just believe it's God, man, because I don't know how I did it. But I think what I always give advice to people is like, get yourself out there as much as you can. Because literally, I think it was midway, I'd only done, oh my God, I think I'd only done like 2 or 3 videos to my name before I got the rap game job. And I was like shook. I was like, oh my God, like, can I do this? Like, I doubted myself a lot, but then I realized that that opportunity was there for a reason and I should just give it a go. Like, I was on my way to Manchester and I was like, oh my God, is this real? Like, you guys are saying about going to America to shoot Missy Elliot. Like, is this real? Like, is this really happening? You can get a lot of that. Like, I definitely will say I've got a lot of moments where I'm like, oh my God, am I good enough? But you just have to believe in what you possess, you know what I mean?
No, well done you for taking action. Like, honestly, it's so inspiring. That's why I was like, I have to have you be a part of the panel. But just final question, I just wanted to say, if you could all touch on this, what would be your best advice for young creators on how to move on from failure? Lolly, if you wanted to start us off.
One thing I always talk about, like when I get opportunities to speak on panels, is your why. Like, my why is what helps me to keep going in terms of like knowing why I'm doing what I'm doing and seeing like how it fits into the bigger picture. So yeah, if you focus on your why, like you'll be able to get through the hardest of times, and just like, yeah, self-belief as well. Like, just because someone else doesn't believe in you right now doesn't mean they won't believe in you later. So yeah.
Amazing. Anybody else want to jump in on that one as a final word?
I guess if it's down with failure, for example, if you're writing treatments and you're not winning anything, please remember that creative treatment that you've made, it might not have necessarily been right for that artist or that track. It doesn't mean it's a bad creative. So make sure that you're putting all these in a bank. Like, do not just think, oh, because that one person didn't like my treatment, oh, that's a shit treatment, I'm going to throw it away. Don't keep them, because I've created ideas 4 years ago and I've got my little bank, and I'll go back in and go, shit, that's brilliant, that suits that person now, right, I'll develop that. So keep your ideas, don't ever think they're shit and throw them away, because they're probably gold dust to somebody else.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really think it's failure if you get a no. It's not a failure. There's so many factors that could come into play, a million different factors, down to it's not the right vibe for that. Sometimes, you know, we haven't touched on it, but like, you know, there's industry cliques. You know, you might have done a great treatment or you might have done a great pitch, but so and so is going to give the job to their mate regardless. You know, there's a lot of that exists as well. So we can't make out and be like, oh, it's an even playing field, because it's not. I just think as long as you have passion and belief, and you know, it's not a failure. Everything is like, you know what, let me improve on myself, make myself better. It might not be right for this person, but it might be right for someone else. So you just find a different way.
Yeah, I agree with like everything that everyone's touched on. Also, like persistence. Just don't get disheartened, and also make your own wave. Like, do it yourself. Like, get out there with your friends and start making things for yourself, for your own portfolio. Like, you know,
don't get so caught up in watching what everyone else is doing. I just feel like,
yeah,
you know, you're going to be like, oh my God, she's doing so well. She's doing so well. Oh my God, she's doing so well. You know, you can't judge your journey of someone else's. You know.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, when I first started, I had to come off Twitter because everyone was thinking they're doing the most, and they really weren't, but they would do the most on social media. And I thought, my God, I'm failing. This isn't me. I'm not getting paid for these things. I'm not doing anything. But then I just came off. I thought, you know, let's focus and do what you want to do and work it out yourself at your own pace, and just, you know, just have to be persistent, and the end goal will be there. It takes years though. It takes a long time. So don't think it's going to happen overnight. It takes a while.
No, thank you guys. Now, honestly, you've just given like the best advice, and we've got so many messages coming in just saying like people really appreciate you guys taking your time out. Thank you all ladies for inspiring us, deeply appreciate it. Like I feel people have got a lot out of this, and I feel like we probably could have gone on for like 3 hours. We've really tried to condense like a lot of information into the session. Thank you so much for being a part of this, ladies. You're amazing.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks for being together.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks everybody for joining us. Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.